Welcome into another edition of Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery. Today on the show, I'm going to be joined by Maria Martin from 11 Alive. We'll kind of break down some Hawks, some Falcons, some Braves, and just kind of go around the Atlanta landscape. Arthur Smith, I think he's that dude. I really do. And the biggest benefit so far to NIL. I'm loving this. It's all next on Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into a Friday edition of Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Thank you so much for being a part of our ever-growing community. The way you can do that is head over to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your browser, hit the subscribe button, be a part of our ever-growing group, and want you to leave us some comments, some reviews, things like that. Let us know, give us some feedback on the shows, and ask you to follow me on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Obviously, the big story yesterday was Nick Saban versus Jimbo Fisher, which is going to be the main event, I understand, for WrestleMania next year out in Hollywood, California. No, I mean, look, here's the thing. And everybody's broken down 75 ways to Sunday, what Nick said, what Jimbo said, where we at here, this, that, and the other. Here's the thing that I love about this whole thing. And if nothing else, NIL has created. It is bringing to the surface some personal animosities that maybe some coaches and some things have, because the money and listen, money always changes everything, right? You know, the old saying is follow the money. Remember we broke down how the NFL and how they spend and all that weeks ago? Follow the money. And when you get lots of money involved, you see, and you mess with people's money, you see true feelings come out among people. And that's what we're seeing right now, because it's not just Jimbo versus Nick Saban. Hey, what about Pat Narduzzi going after Lincoln Riley saying, the hell you doing, you know, recruiting this kid with money? Now it turns out Jordan Anderson, the Biletnikoff winner, the best wide receiver in America, he's going to Southern Cal like Narduzzi said he was, and he may be linked to a $3.5 million deal for NIL. Now, doesn't make it illegal or this, that, and the other, but I love this aspect of it. I want to see more of this, because you know what I'm tired of in all sports whatsoever? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all that. I don't want everybody to be friends. I don't want pats on the back. I don't want everybody to get along and shake hands and enjoy each other's company and sing Kumbaya and all this other nonsense. I love this about NIL, because when you mess with the money, brother, you start messing, you know, with this is where I eat, how I feed I love it. And I know Greg Sankey came out yesterday. Hey, you guys, take your darn hands off of again, Lane Kiffin was supposed to be on a radio show today. Sankey put the kibosh on. Hey, we don't want people responding. We don't want more. The hell with that. I want everybody. I want fisticuffs. I want the whole thing. Don't do this monkeying around of putting the governors. And I understand that's not the image that they want. They don't want Nick Saban going on. Look what happened. Saban's at an event. He says a thing. Jimbo holds a press conference. Saban goes on radio. Kiffin was on a radio show. Kiffin was supposed to be on radio again today, right? And we get this whole domino effect. I love that. I love it. I want guys to be angry at one another. I want guys to compete. I understand Kirby spent a decade with Nick Saban. And I understand that behind the scenes, Kirby wants to beat the brakes off of Nick Saban. I get that. But you know what? Putting that in the public face isn't a bad thing either. You can have respect for Nick Saban. I think Jimbo has respect for Nick Saban, but Saban made it personal, didn't he? And Saban didn't say anything. I'm telling you, Saban didn't say anything wrong. They played with Jimbo and Texas A&M played within the rules. They did what they had to do. You know, Jimbo, before this recruiting class, had, I think, gotten five-star kids to come to Texas A&M. They signed 7 in one day. Is that because he's a great recruiter? Jimbo is a great recruiter, by the way. I mean, that 2010 Florida State class with Winston and I think Dalvin Cook and all that, that's as good a class as there ever was in the history of college football. Won him that national title. But it got personal for Jimbo. And his frustrations bowled up to the surface. Jordan Addison hadn't even made a decision about where he was going to go. And there were already rumors about obviously going to USC and playing with Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley's mind. And I can be like Drake London. I can be a first-round wide receiver and blah, 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 blah. Narduzzi took that personal. Hey, man, this is the best player I have on my roster coming off an ACC championship. I lost my first-round NFL quarterback, and I want my next guy to succeed. Cool. I've got this super stud, Biletnikoff winning wide receiver, and he's going to leave and he's going to go out and play for that guy because they're going to offer. Yeah. So I love it. I hope we get more of this. I'm scouring the news cycles looking for what kid's going in the transfer portal that's really good, or what kid was supposed to go here and he got an NIL deal over here and decided that, nah, you know what, forget whatever. Forget Clemson. I'm going over here to Georgia or whatever. I don't want these guys to like one another. You know, you can have, it's like everything in life, right? You can have respect for another guy. Jimbo respects what Nick Saban is. Kirby respects what Nick Saban is. And you can say some of that and put it out there in a friendlier setting. But want those guys to want to beat the brains out of I want Kirby to want to beat the brakes. And I think he does. And I get that sense. But I'm not going to be mad if Kirby Smart, you know, whatever. Let's say Alabama steals a kid from Georgia that they thought was locked up, committed, and all of a sudden he ends up in Alabama and gets a $2 million NIL car deal. He's got the Lamborghini and he's got all this stuff, right? Like Bijan Robinson got in Texas, got the Lamborghini and all this kind of stuff, and he gets this massive deal. I want Kirby to come out and be pissed at Nick Saban. I want him to come out and say, well, you know, that's interesting turn of events or whatever like that. So I guess we know where. I want that. This has been great for college football because, again, too often these guys are playing golf and let's shake hands and I don't want that. Let's have a little bit of controversy. As Eric Bischoff famously says, controversy creates cash. Let's have a little bit of controversy. It's okay in all sports. Expand this out to all sports. Is there anything worse than in the NBA when two teams are about to go at it against one another in a series that you see the guys at half court, big hugs, patting each other on the back. Hey, we've all got the same agent, and isn't it great? And I love you, brother. I love you, man. I love you, man. What happened to good guy, bad guy? Bill Russell would have thrown a ball at your head before he'd have shook your hand. Bob Gibson would have plunked you in the back. Bob Gibson talked about in the All-Star game. I'm not letting up because it's the All-Star game. I want to beat those guys' brains in. When those guys in the American, when Mantle and Maris and Yastrzemski and all those guys come up, and Colavito and all those guys come up in the big leagues in the All-Star game, I want to beat their brains in. And if I got to plunk them, I'll plunk them for it. So that's been the best thing about this, is that now some of these personal animosities and touching folks' money has get these guys on their emotional train. And brother, I am all here for it. All right, when we come back, we will talk to Maria Martin from 11 Alive. Of course, you see her, sports anchor, and we will get into some Braves, some Hawks, some Falcons. We'll just chop it up. We'll go all over the Atlanta landscape with her. It's all coming up next. It is Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.